You're on a retro trek with the Caramel Apples, a podcast that brings you amazing, stargazing nostalgia throwback from the way back. We're going to deep dive into a most memorable, multi-dimensional way to explore time travel as he and companions pass the time of blasting past planets and through the universe after an intense, unanticipated ice snap. What are some of your favorite memories surrounding Buck Rogers? With your host Kennedy Rizzo and Cooper Lee. Welcome back to the channel, Orchard Archivers. Today, we're blasting off into retro science fiction as we explore Buck Rogers, one of the most influential characters in sci-fi history.
Yeah, that's right. So, before Star Wars, I can't even imagine. But there was a time, okay? Before Star Trek, even before Flash Gordon hit the mainstream, Buck Rogers was laying the groundwork for space adventure, ray guns, and futuristic worlds.
That's right. And in this episode, we'll cover every major Buck Rogers movie and TV series, their air dates, their impact on pop culture, and yes, some of the most famous parodies, including Daffy Duck as Duck Dodgers.
That's classic. Whether you're a sci-fi historian, a retro TV fan, or just wondering why Daffy Duck wears a space helmet, you're in the right place. So, of course, you know all the things. Stop by and chat on one or all of the socials. Visit RetroTrekwithTheCaramelApples.com to find the deets on how to supply us with some Bucks coffee. Now for some old-fashioned red doggin.
Want me to find Planet X. Is that it?
Can you do it, Dodgers?
Oh, indubitably, sir.
What's the matter with you?
Because there's no one knows his way around outer space like Dodgers in the 24th and a half century.
Oh my gosh.
Oh, gosh.
So, yes, that was one of the infamous parodies of Buck Rogers, Daffy Duck, which actually, I think we had made a mention of that too in our Looney Tunes nostalgic episode. So we'll link that in the show notes. It's great.
Of course.
But back to our mainstay of Buck Rogers. Buck Rogers began actually in 1928 as a Pulp magazine character created by Philip Francis Nolan. His original story, Armageddon 2419 AD, introduced Buck as a man frozen in time who awakens in a futuristic world.
This concept, someone from the present waking up in the future, kind of became a sci-fi staple. You can find it pretty much everywhere. Without Buck Rogers, we'll likely wouldn't have Captain America, Futurama, or even certain Doctor Who storylines.
That's interesting, isn't it? It's funny how things kind of piggyback or spin off of one, specific entity or a bunch of them, like you just listed.
Yeah, because you never really know what's going to have that staying power or what people will latch onto.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's cool.
Everything trends.
Yes.
Buck Rogers quickly jumped from print to radio, comics, and eventually film and television, becoming a true multimedia franchise decades before that was even common.
That's the interesting thing about sci-fi. It's been an interest of people for a long, long time. You think back, they would stargaze way, way back before there was really any record of doing that. So people always kind of wondering what was out there has been a thing.
Yeah.
Even for our subject fodder today, we're having to go way back because Buck Rogers isn't just something of the 70s or the 80s, right? So we're
Yeah.
having to go back and put some links in that chain and how we arrive for our nostalgic topic today.
That's right. You're welcome, archivers.
That's it. The first major screen adaptation, sorry about that, was the 1939 Buck Rogers movie serial released in theaters chapter by chapter.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay, that would take some work, wouldn't it?
Absolutely.
This entity right here, starring Buster Crabbe, this serial ran for 12 chapters, as Coop just mentioned, and featured cliffhangers, rocket ships, and futuristic weapons that thrilled Depression era audiences. Like they needed a little bit of entertainment to take their mind off of the trash that was happening in their real life, right?
Exactly. And that is really the crux of entertainment. Movies, to be specific, really does provide an escape. That's why when they're lacking these days, you're like, man, you're missing the point of what this is.
We're just left to deal with life's trash.
That's it. Like, gee, thanks. While the effects, obviously look dated when we watch it today, this serial defined the visual language of science fiction for decades, especially like the space uniforms and the infamous control panels.
Oh yeah, with the nice little primary colored buttons flashing.
Right.
And them going click, 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 real loud, and you can hear them on different planets.
That's it.
Ah, me. This was the flavor of Buck Rogers.
Yes.
So Buck Rogers officially landed on television with the Buck Rogers TV series, which aired from April 15th, 1950. Yeah. To January 30th, 1951.
Wow. So it kind of had a longish run. Maybe for back in the day, that might have been kind of considered long. But I think in today's standards, when you got, season 35 on something, it's like that didn't seem real long here, but it is what it is. But still, it had staying power and it had its fans because, as we mentioned, it's pretty much at the crux of what really bred the sci-fi community now.
Mm-hmm.
And people like George Lucas, he was big on Star Wars. Or sorry, yes, he's big on Star Wars.
What's the matter with you?
But I mean, he was big on like Flash Gordon. He was big on Buck Rogers. So very, very cool. We can see what that led to, and we completely appreciate it.
Yeah, and Coop, let's just mention this real quick. I mean, like in the 50s and 60s, I mean, they were all about space. They were curious.
Yes.
I mean, even like in your mind's eye, you can see what their spaceships were, like flying, like tossing frisbees or plates. Metal plates. Even the dogs in cartoons had their little tinfoil hats. Or their whatever, their little saucers on there with the little doo-doo-doo-doo, the antenna.
Truly, yes, absolutely.
That's all they talked about back then.
Yeah, because I mean, you think about it, that's when they were really starting to want to go out into space in real life, right? Like
That's
they
right.
were wanting to land on the moon and things like that. So yeah, they're like, let's explore it in all facets of life. Let's get into it. This series starred Kim Dibbs as Buck. and aired live, which meant minimal special effects but maximum imagination. So that's back when you did have to use your noodle a lot more. So
Yeah.
that's really cool.
And I appreciate that because I mean, we did like you could go anywhere in your imagination. Like that was the bee's knees.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So despite the technical limitations, again, we dialed up them brains. Um, this was one of the earliest science fiction TV shows ever produced, helping normalize sci fi as a television genre. Because, I mean, that's a little before our time, but even if you go back and throw back, with things on, streaming options or even DVDs you may have collected over the years or something rando that you find on late night TV, you'll see like some of this cheeseoid sci fi stuff. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, especially like when you have like Mystery Science Theater.
There it is.
Shows like that, they reach back and they find some things you didn't even know existed. Yeah.
I love that shit.
Oh my gosh. You talk about hysterical. And they really do. They deep dive into some things that you're like, wow, where did they dig that up from?
Exactly. Yeah. Talk about imaginations.
And a lot of them are space related.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'd say probably the majority of what they do is space related, but it's so cool. Um, we are going to fast forward just a bit because we are trying to arrive where we are in our nostalgic time travel. And that's the version that people most remember. That is Buck Rogers in the 25th century.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's right. That's right.
Okay.
So,
What about Buck?
that's ugly.
It was. And I don't know if you remember our mama. She would do that. So she'd be bitty, bitty, bitty.
She had a sense of humor.
She did. She did. And she watched the show. So, you know what? She was a mess. But yeah, like literally. And what was his name?
Wasn't it Twiggy?
We thought it was Twiggy. I guess it was technically Twiggy.
Oh.
But when you're kids, I mean, like literally, you could easily see why you would think Twiggy instead of Twiggy. It's very, very similar. And you're kids. You're not like really listening to the show.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
Yeah. But what I do remember about Twiggy, because that's who he is to us,
That's right.
is that helmet hair.
Bitty, 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 bitty.
Someone isn't gonna like that.
I think that someone might be Twiggy.
Yeah, he's like, don't be talking about my hair.
No, 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 no! No, please! No!
Yeah. Now Twiggy is steamed. So the pilot movie was premiered in theaters on March 30th, 1979, followed by the TV series airing from September 20th, 1979 to April 16th, 1981 on the NBC network.
Yeah, and that was starring Gil Gerard
Mhm.
as Buck Rogers and Aaron Gray as Colonel Wilma Deering. This show leaned into disco era sci-fi with sleek ships and futuristic fashion.
Yes, it did. And Erin Gray, she actually was, if you can't recall who she is right off from the top of your head, which is usually our issue, but we can see her now. She was the girlfriend in 80s classic sitcom Silver Spoons.
Yep. Yep.
We have not yet had a discussion on that, so keep your antennas up down the line because that is definitely one of our warmest memories of the 80s when it comes to sitcoms. So keep an eye out for that. But Erin Gray, yes, she was a nice fit for Buck Rogers.
Yes, she was very pretty.
Season 1 was action heavy and space oriented, which of course is what this is all about. While season 2 shifted to a darker tone with more planetary exploration, which Coop likes. This is her jam. She's a sci-fi nerd.
I am. I unapologetically, right? I mean, I would do that all day long.
Oh
I
my
absolutely
God.
I know. You give me sci-fi or you give me the Rennie Fest, those types. I don't know. I'm that person. But anyway, this series directly competed with shows like Battlestar Galactica, which was a major one, and saw a resurgence not too long ago, and capitalized on the post-Star Wars sci-fi boom. Because once Star Wars hit the sci-fi scene, it really did like overtake everything.
It did. It's this whole own entity. Mm-hmm.
It really did. And I don't know if you remember when we were kids, we had a little 45 record that also, I think it was put out by Disney. It was The Black Hole. Do you remember that?
I do remember The Black Hole, yes.
Yeah, and it was a movie. But we had I don't think it was, maybe it wasn't a 45, but it had the picture book to go along with it. Mm-hmm. Which was really cool. But yeah, been into sci-fi for quite some time.
Please, Coop, I have vague memories. But because Buck Rogers was so influential, it became a frequent target for parody.
Yeah, and that's kind of like when you've arrived, when you make it into people's jokes and fodder. So it's good if you can just roll with it, right? Because it's like you're being talked about.
Yeah.
What they say, there's no such thing as bad press. If you're being talked about, you matter in some way. So that's cool. Everything from The Simpsons to Futurama, we mentioned that earlier, has referenced Buck Rogers. Especially the theme of man out of time trope.
That's right. Even the phrase Buck Rogers stuff became shorthand for futuristic technology in everyday conversation. So there's that.
Cool.
I'm going to take that one. I'm adopting that one. Buck Rogers stuff.
What's the matter with you?
But don't get it confused with Will Rogers, right? He had his own place in space, too.
Oh, yeah. Completely. Totally.
Oh gosh, so we have already kind of referenced this, but we're going to get back to it because we are cartoon fans, seriously at heart. We love cartoons. So the most famous parody of Buck Rogers is without question Daffy Duck as Duck Dodgers.
Are you ready, eager young space cadet? I'm all set, your hero ship, sir. Then make way for Duck Dodgers in the 24th and a half century. Had the silly thing in reverse.
What a joke. Oh my gosh.
That's completely rotten.
Yes.
So the original Looney Tunes short was titled Duck Dodgers in the 24th and a half century. That was released on July 25th, 1953.
That's right. As you know, Daffy plays Dodgers, and Porky Pig is his eager little sidekick. Aww. And then, of course, how are you going to have a space cartoon and not have Marvin the Martian in it, who he, of course, plays the villain? Mirroring classic Buck Rogers space conflicts.
Oh my God. The parody became so popular, it spawned its own animated series, Duck Dodgers, which aired from August 23rd, 2003 to March 3rd, 2005 on the Cartoon Network.
Yeah. This series leaned heavily into Buck Rogers tropes, space empires, laser battles, and heroic poses, while keeping Looney Tunes comedy front and center.
That's right, and without Buck Rogers, Duck Dodgers simply wouldn't exist.
That's just facts, right? That is just facts. Buck Rogers may not dominate modern pop culture like Star Wars does. We've already stated that. But its DNA is everywhere.
It really is. Like, from space operas to animated parodies, Buck Rogers helped define what futuristic adventure looked like.
Whether it's the 1939 serials, the 1950 TV show, or the 1979 revival, or Daffy Duck playing and flying around in a spaceship, Buck Rogers remains a fundamental sci-fi legend.
So, just a quick side note, which is this has just been happening here and there a lot lately, but the actor that played in the 70 version of Buck Rogers, Gil Gerard,
Yeah.
he recently passed away, like just weeks ago.
Yeah.
So, yeah, so Mr. Buck Rogers is now sleeping. He's not around. He's back in his ice nap.
Yeah.
But that is sad that he recently passed. I think was he 80 something?
That would seem about right.
Yeah, because it's funny because a lot of the actors back then, like our parents' age, like they're older, and well,
Yeah.
our dad's older, but anyway, like a lot of the actors are up there,
Mm-hmm.
and when they were in shows, back then, they seemed they were mature, like
Yeah.
they were doing their thing, but they didn't seem like they were in their their mid-30s or 40s, but like everybody was mature back then. They were living adult life, and actors were no different. So like they start, everybody's getting older, and they start getting sick and passing away. So I mean, actors aren't immune.
That's it. That's it. It comes. Eventually it catches up with us.
So if you enjoyed this deep dive into Buck Rogers, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell.
Yeah, and let us know in the comments what's your favorite version of Buck Rogers or Duck Dodgers. You weigh in. And that's it for our Buck Rogers conversation, where retro futuristic dreams remind us that imagination always takes flight. From the spaceways of Buck Rogers to the real world skies, our next episode shifts gears into the golden age of aviation with Nostalgia Air, where our special guest, Asden Emolstequim, will be joining us. Buckle up because we're going from rockets to runways and keeping the spirit of adventure alive.